Hello, I'm Larry Lee with Brownfield Ag News Network. Jill Makovek joins us. Jill is not only a good friend of ours, but she also works for Brownfield Ag News, but is a past Alice in Dairyland. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Jill, first of all, the Alice program has a long history, doesn't it?
It does have a long history in Wisconsin. In 2022, it will celebrate its 75th anniversary. And I'm not quite sure when the state of Wisconsin embarked on the Alice program that it thought it would be a tradition spanning 75 years. But it's really become one of Wisconsin's most recognized people and also spokespeople for our vibrant agricultural industry, which contributes almost $105 billion for the state's economy every single year.
So, how did the Alice program get started anyway?
The Alice program started in 1948 as a celebration of the state's centennial, and Don McDowell was working at the Department of Agriculture at the time, and he never really takes credit publicly. He's passed away now, but he didn't take credit publicly for inventing Alice, but a lot of people close to him say that he was instrumental in its becomings in terms of being a position within the state. So Don and his team came up with this way to celebrate Wisconsin agriculture and the state of Wisconsin really as part of the centennial celebration. And Don went on then to be the director of agriculture, which is our predecessor to the Secretary of Agriculture, Trade and Consumer Protection, which people know today. So it became a tradition in 1948. And it was a beauty competition. So a lot of times people think that Alice still is a beauty competition. And the reason why is because it did start that way. It was people submitted a photo to be considered and they were in the newspaper and beauty was a big component of it. I'm blessed because my mom is from Highland and the very first Alice in Dairyland is from Highland, Wisconsin, a town of about 600 people. And to this day, they are very proud of the role they play in the Alice program, being home to the first, whose name is Margaret McGuire Blatt.
Let's go back and look at that. The program has changed a lot over the years. It's no longer a beauty pageant, for one thing.
It is no longer a beauty pageant. Exactly. So Alice now is a marketing professional, and it's a program still through the state of Wisconsin and now the Department of Agriculture, Trade and Consumer Protection, which has another change. But it is a state civil servant and also known as Wisconsin's agricultural ambassador. It is the only program like it in the nation, where you have someone that is tied to the state and works on the state's behalf to promote the state's signature industry, which again is obviously agriculture.
Yeah, it's a 1-year paid position, and I understand that's unique. Nobody else has a paid position promoting agriculture like this.
Right. That's one of the things that make it unique, Larry, in the fact that it is a paid position. It is paid through the state of Wisconsin. It's tied to the department. And while the secretary is obviously the voice and the head of the Department of Agriculture, Trade and Consumer Protection, Alice really works in tangent with the secretary as a way to promote agriculture to civic groups and community members, to work with school children, especially fourth graders, because that's when they study Wisconsin history, and really to take forth the message that, number one, agriculture is a big part of our state's economy, but number two, it's an excellent source of safe, affordable, abundant food. And because of the diversity of agriculture in Wisconsin, a lot of times we buy local without even realizing we're buying local because so many different products are produced here.
The Alice program through the years has seen changes in technology, changes in how things are done. I understand one of the big changes happened right about the time you were serving as our 60th Alice.
That's correct. So previously, Alice traveled a lot and did in-person events, and that was her main way of connecting with consumers. Alice also wrote articles for newspapers and other publications and did TV interviews, radio interviews, and food demonstrations was a big part back in the day. But Alice is not Betty Crocker, so being able to actually do a recipe well from start to finish is not a requirement of the job, but promoting food and food products is. So around the time I served as Alice, Facebook was really taking off. I know we have so many different things now, but at the time it was Facebook. But there were a lot of concerns with privacy. How would we handle people who had questions about agriculture, but maybe weren't the most polite in addressing those questions or concerns? And at the time, Alice, as a program, decided not to have a Facebook account. But right after I completed my term, the 61st Alice did branch into the social media world. And now you can find Alice on YouTube. You can find Alice in Dairyland on Facebook, Instagram. And in light of COVID, the last year really has taken Alice into a virtual world where she hosted a lot of virtual events where she could have conversations with people right in their home and give her multiple more touch points with consumers without having to see them at events. I'm not saying that seeing people at events is not important. We all know after several months of lockdown that that is key to our human experience. But it just added another dimension to the program that's new and shows that Alice, just like Wisconsin agriculture, embraces technology to continue to remain relevant and reach the most consumers she can as efficiently and effectively as possible.
Pretty safe to say that our current Alice in Dairyland, Julia Nunez, has really had to jump into the world of the unknown with the virtual since the pandemic hit during her term.
She has, and I think that you can see that in a lot of different ways. Again, she hosted different like tea time with Alice with the ginseng growers. So a great way to introduce people to ginseng and the fact that Wisconsin leads the nation in ginseng production. I know that she worked with dairy farmers of Wisconsin. We've had America's Dairyland on our license plate since the 40s as well. So it's no surprise that Alice is named Alice in Dairyland. Those two coincide. And she did a actual virtual farm tour of her farm, Scientific Holsteins. So when students were either learning virtually or not able to take field trips, they could still see what a working farm looked like and what her lifestyle on a farm meant to her and what it meant to the role farmers play in producing that safe, abundant food for all Wisconsin consumers.
One of the things I noticed about the Alice program is there are many past Alices that are still out there advocating for agriculture. They might be in ag finance. They might be making cheese, like Abigail, for example. They might be working as an account rep like you for Brownfield. They're all over the place. The Alice program is really a good step in a career, isn't it?
Alice in Dairyland opens doors for a lot of women, but it also introduces not only the person chosen as Alice, but the other 5 finalists to advocating and educating people about agriculture. I often say that you can't educate people that don't want to be educated, but Alice can do her best to continue sharing information so people are informed. And when they're ready to learn more, it's a place where people can learn more about agriculture. So some of our former Alices, like Margaret McGuire Blott, went back to school. She was actually selected as Alice while she was a student at Whitewater, but she did go back to school and got her education degree to be a teacher, which she did for many years. Many people know Crave Brother Farms. Well, Debbie Crave was a former Alice and continues to educate people through her role with their farm and, of course, their cheese factory. You mentioned Abigail most recently. She served right before Julia, and she's the program manager at the Farm Wisconsin Discovery Center, where a lot of people go to learn more about agriculture. When we look bigger term, maybe not just straight farming or straight production agriculture, we also had Carol Kobe, our first and only Alice from Superior, Wisconsin, was a radio host for many years on the Tux here in the Madison area. And then we have other people that have gone back to the farm, like Nicole Barlis, who served as the 59th Alice, but continues to help educate consumers about agriculture by being involved with the State Fair Dairy Promotion Board and Dairy Lane, which will be at the State Fair now that we're hopefully through the worst of the pandemic and can gather again. So there's lots of ways people stay connected to sharing information about agriculture after their role as Alice, and those candidates do too. Even though only one person is Alice, there have been a lot of candidates that go through the program, and then continue to spread the good messages about agriculture in their careers, whether they were selected or not. It is not too late for people that want to be Alice in Dairyland. And I tell those that are considering it to start a year in advance. So now is really the time to think about serving as Alice in Dairyland, thinking about what facets of agriculture you know a lot about and what facets you maybe need to learn some more about, because Wisconsin ranks first in a variety of commodities. But even if we don't rank first, those commodities we rank second, third, fourth in still mean a lot to our state in the jobs they provide or the commodities they provide locally that allow our consumers to have safe local food. So definitely for those looking to serve in this role, now is the time to be thinking about it, to be watching Alice, to be studying the social media. And Dane County is right along with that process. We want to bring Alice to more consumers here in the Madison area that may not know about her, and also support the farmers out and about throughout Dane County, because we really are a unique county in that regard. The combination between the capital, some of our main cities, and then obviously it's one of the most productive agricultural counties with farmers as well. So throughout the year, we'll have a variety of events to showcase the important role that agriculture plays in Dane County, and also really the role that Alice does in promoting that. So in Dane County alone, we talk about the economic impact of agriculture in the state, but in Dane County alone, it's $3.1 billion in economic activity that agriculture brings to Dane County. A lot of people think the city, the capital, the university, but farmers are playing a really important role in that. And more than 14,000 jobs are because of agriculture. So when we look at the top commodities here, we have a lot to talk about, from milk, grain, cattle and calves, nursery, hogs. There are a lot of industries that were challenged by the pandemic that we can now help consumers learn more about by hosting Alice in Dairyland throughout the year.
What should our viewers and listeners watch for next as far as the Alice events? Maybe some of the fundraisers, some of the screening events, various things that are going to happen before an actual selection.
They will start their work behind the scenes, and we will showcase them in May. So they will tour different agribusinesses. They'll be on the radio. They'll do a TV interview, and then it will culminate at the Monona Terrace on May 21st, where they have to give an individual speech, recap a tour stop that they had the opportunity to go on and learn about agriculture and the different businesses here. And that's where we'll select the 75th Alice in Dairyland.
As far as applicants, where should prospective Alices go first?
The best place to go is to start at aliceinDairyland.com. And everything is run, again, still through the state of Wisconsin. And so those applications will become available. I believe that they will be out in early January. So now is the time to be following Alice on social media. Alice has her own account, or the Alice in Dairyland Finals has a Facebook page as well. We'll be sharing information, but start at aliceinDairyland.com to learn about Julia's travels throughout her year, how to apply, and then where you can meet and greet Alice right here in Dane County. If you live here or if you happen to be coming here, we want you to engage and learn more about our Alice tradition as well.
I understand you and several of the other past Alices work with these people to get them ready for the actual process.
I would say one of the beautiful parts of serving as Alice is the sisterhood in encouraging and inspiring young women that want to look to strive and achieve this position as part of their career path. So a lot of times those looking to be Alice reach out to former Alices, and well, it's been quite a few years and we've established that things have changed quite a bit since I've been Alice. I really encourage those that want to apply to reach out to who was your favorite Alice, who did you think did a good job, or maybe who really excelled in an area you feel that you could use a little bit more help in. Because part of being good in our professional life, whether that's Alice or anything down the road, is figuring out where we need to improve. So find those that are really good in those areas and ask them to mentor you, whether it's Alice or anything else. I think strong women empower and inspire other strong women. And that is one of the most beautiful parts of the Alice program.
Jill, you get the last word. Anything you'd like to add today?
I would say the only thing that I want to add specifically about the Alice program, and one I get asked about a lot, is the history of the tiara. I think sometimes people look at Alice because she does utilize a tiara as part of the program and thinks it's a beauty queen, or maybe it doesn't, they don't give it the credibility that Alice really deserves. And the tiara is as unique as Alice herself. The Wisconsin jewelers, the Midwest jewelers, they came together and they saw that Alice really was a spokesperson, not only for agriculture, but the state of Wisconsin. And if we think about it, agriculture transcends so many industries, from tourism to manufacturing. And the jewelers saw the role that Alice was playing. And they decided they wanted to design a tiara as unique and as special as the program itself. So in 1984, they gifted a tiara to the program, incorporating stones that were indigenous to Wisconsin. And it's actually designed by a Wisconsin jeweler from Sheboygan Falls. It's its third edition now. The first one was lost, unfortunately, and the second one was stolen. So this is the third version of it. But when you see the Alice tiara, ask about that story, because it too is representative of Wisconsin. Wisconsin was a mining state. We're the Badger State because of our lead and zinc miners. We have a miner on the state flag. And because of that rich mining history, we also have quartz here. They're not mined commercially, but people have found them, set them into custom jewelry. And that's really what the Alice tiara is utilizing those quartz, citrine, and amethysts that are indigenous to the state, and tying Alice back to the symbolism in all of the things that made Wisconsin a state and helped develop settlements here. Mining, obviously the sailing and the waterway industry back in the day, and agriculture. And all of those together encompass Wisconsin. Those are encompassed in the tiara and ultimately still shared through the Alice position.
Jill Makovek, our 60th Alice in Dairyland, and preparing for number 75 in her county of Dane County. Thanks for joining us today on Brownfield.
Thanks, Larry.